You are now listening to two dudes in their 30s with Adam and Greg. They're gonna talk about stuff, and you're gonna listen. Okay, got it. Good. Let's start the show. Hell yeah!
Recording. Say something so I can make sure you're talking too.
Hello.
Oh, okay, good. You're there. So what's up?
What's going on, man?
All right. So first show here.
Ooh.
Let's just get right into it. So what's happening first of all? What's going on with you?
Man.
Friday, dog's got cancer. What
Yeah.
else?
Oh my God. A lot. Where do we start? So a few months ago, Dad got diagnosed with cancer. You know, he's been going through chemo and whatnot. Thank God he's doing pretty good. You got stuff on your end too. You know, with your wife. So.
And then we're starting this endeavor.
Yeah, it's like we got stuff on our plates, but let's try to do something good in our lives that, get our mind off of all that negative,
And have an opportunity to chat every once in a while. So,
Yeah,
should we actually
absolutely.
introduce ourselves?
Yeah, go for it, man.
So, this is two dudes in their 30s. This is the show. I'm Greg,
Yeah, I'm Adam.
and he's Adam. So we're gonna just talk, and we're gonna see sort of where this all takes us. So, from an outline perspective, our thoughts are that we're gonna just kind of get right into it each week. We're gonna come at you with a different topic, kind of talk through things, and kind of see where it takes us from there. So pretty loose, pretty general to start out. Maybe we'll get to talk to some other people down the road. I don't know. Plans are
That'd be ideal.
swirling,
Yeah.
and we'll see what happens. See what happens from there. So, in terms of, I don't know, from my perspective, how this all came about, I guess I'll say that I had been wanting to do something like this for a while. I'd come up with this idea for this soccer podcast, and I had logos made, and I had I bought a domain name. I can't remember what it was called now. And I was gonna try to interview soccer people, like long form, but I guess I was gonna try to do it from here. So I was gonna talk to them remotely, I guess through Skype or phone call or something like that. And then and that was gonna be the show. And so the idea came about. I bought the equipment. I got the stand. I got the mic. I looked into how to actually do this, and that was 2 years ago. And
Wow,
then
I did not know that.
So I took all the stuff out of the closet, or I took all the stuff out of the box, I should say. I set it all up, and then I left it there for 6 months. I never recorded anything on the microphone one time. And then I put it back in the boxes and put it in the closet. And then that's it. So
It was a few months, a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, you called me. You left me a voicemail, right? You're like, "Hey, I got some business ideas I want to throw your way."
I think I said I had
it's not Bitcoin.
Yeah, I think I said I had a business proposition. That has nothing to do with Bitcoin. So I don't know how this would be business. There's no money involved, but at least right now. But I will say, actually, I do want to say this. So this show is produced, edited, designed, developed by the two of us. This is a two-man show. But I have to say that I put that post up on Instagram, and by the way, at 2dudes30 on all the socials, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Doing a lot on Instagram right now. Nothing on the other ones, but we'll get to it. A couple of businesses followed us on Instagram the other day because I put up a post about where we're from, which is Ballston Spa, New York, and so Cole's Collision. Remember Cole's Collision? Did you hear about them or no?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I think they fixed my car before. They started following us on Instagram, so shout out Cole's Collision. Maybe you'll want to sponsor us someday. Fix a bumper or something maybe if I need to. But and then Next Door Kitchen and Bar. Have you heard of that place before?
Haven't.
So, they're a restaurant in Boston Spa. They're on Front Street in Boston Spa. So you haven't been back to Boston Spa in like a while, right?
Yeah, it's been like 3 years probably.
So they're on Front Street, and the restaurant that they're in now, the place that they're in now, that used to be like a high end restaurant. It's called 51 Front, and actually Ashley and I had our first Valentine's date there, like back in the day. So this is like 2010. And it was like, it's an expensive place. It was an expensive place. 51 Front, this restaurant. It was like a small place with like 10 tables or something like that. And but I was like, you know what? Gotta go for it. Gotta see how this is gonna go. It was like we were like 5 months in. I was making like $0. But what the hell? So we go to the restaurant, good meal, whatever. Bill comes like $150. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty tough for me right now. That's about what I would spend in a full week on food, probably more actually. But we went after it, we did it, and then they've gone through multiple owners since then, and but it's actually a really cool place. They've expanded. They've kind of acquired the place next to it. It has a cool vibe. They have like kind of like a brick wall and like good craft beer, and
Nice.
it's a really chill place. And we haven't been able to get up there in a while because of the kids, but yeah, it's a pretty sick place. So shout out to not 51 Front. Now the third or fourth iteration now of the new 51 Front, which is Next Door Kitchen and Bar in Boston Spa, New York. So if you're not from Boston Spa, New York, or you're not from this area, or if you are and you never heard of the place, go check them out sometime.
Cool.
And I'm gonna let them know that we shouted them out during this thing after we finish this thing. So Back to how we kind of got this thing started. So I've been wanting to do this, like I said, for a long time. Bought the equipment, didn't really do anything with it. Didn't really think that idea that I had originally was going to go. But in the meantime, I listened to a bunch of podcasts still. And it's just, I don't really even listen to like the radio when I'm in the car or anything like that. I don't even have a lot of downloaded music. I pretty much just like have checked out different podcasts. And they kind of like, they keep me, I don't know. They just kind of get you through your ride, like get me through like cleaning bathrooms, mowing the lawn, like stuff like that. And so I was like, this just kind of seems kind of cool. It seems like something that, that maybe I could do at some point. And then the idea kind of just popped into my head. Like, why don't I just reach out to you? Like, I don't know. We've known each other for so long that I think we could, have good conversation. And like we kind of said, as we were sort of planning this out, it's, if nothing else, it's an opportunity for us to just like catch up on a weekly basis and kind of talk through different things, and hopefully for those that do listen, provide some interesting stories, some funny stuff, some serious stuff, some just stuff that two dudes in their 30s would be talking about. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. When you called me, we first started talking about this, like, you're not even really a podcast listener, correct?
No, I've never listened to a podcast in my entire life. I'm more of like a YouTube kind of guy.
So you know what we're doing here? I mean,
yeah, I get the gist of it. We've kind of done a little research in the last 2 weeks.
You bought a microphone.
You bought a microphone.
Yeah, you're good.
It's all hooked up.
So,
we got some.
It's official.
Some good sounds. Yeah, we got this. Yeah, man.
Well, I mean, no, but like the stuff on YouTube is kind of like video podcasts, right? I mean, or are you talking?
Yeah, I've seen like the Joe Rogan Experience or whatever. I kind of get the gist. So.
Yeah, I mean that's basically it.
Yeah. But so like I got the phone call from Graig. I'm like, I want to give him my time. We want to keep our relationship going. So this is something he's been wanting to do for the last year. Absolutely, I'm in full bore. So like Greg said, we both grew up in Boston Spa, tiny little town in upstate New York. There's what did you say, like 30,000 population, 50,000 population when we were younger?
Yeah,
like
something like that.
So we grew up on the same street together. We were always playing baseball or basketball, soccer, or whatever. And I don't know. I was kind of always envious. Greg was kind of a cooler kid. He had this awesome hairdo with
man.
Like steps.
The
steps on the side.
See
of
me
his,
now. You should see me now.
the rat tail in the back. It looked like Wild Thing from Major League. But I don't know. We've kept our relationship going over the years, and he's my best man in my wedding. We've had some really good times in life. So when he suggested this idea, I'm definitely I'm on board.
By the way, massively overestimated the population.
What would you say it is?
I looked it up on Wikipedia. It's like
Well, we're including like Malta and like
5,400. Would you say 30,000?
yeah.
Well,
All right,
whatever.
so
Give or take a couple. It's all good.
what is it now? What is it now?
Like 50, I don't know, 5,400. They said on Wikipedia.
Wow.
That's the estimate.
That was
So, but
way
that's probably like the village. That's the village. So
Yeah.
the greater area is, I don't know, maybe 10. It's all good. So yeah, so I was like, yeah, let's do something. And I kind of, quite honestly, I kind of figured like, maybe Adam's kind of open for doing things like creative things and like trying new things out. So I'm like, why don't I just reach out? And I'm sure he's going to be like, yeah, sure. Why don't we just do it? And kind of what my, what my thought was is like, I already have the equipment. So like, don't even bother with that. Like just buy a little headset and let's like talk a couple times. And then like 2 days later, you got all psyched on it. And now you have like a sicker mic than me and a headset and you're good to go. So you kind of threw yourself right into it.
Man, absolutely.
Which is cool. So, format wise, like we said, we're going to probably just kind of shoot the shit, for lack of a better term, at the beginning of these things, and then just kind of go topical each time. So, and we'll just kind of bounce around and see where it takes us. So, one of the things that we wanted to maybe talk about at the beginning here was sort of maybe who's this for and kind of what's it all about. And I think a couple, like from my perspective, a couple things like that jump out to me right away. And if you follow like on the Instagram at all, you've been kind of seeing like some of the motivational things, or inspirational things.
Mm-hmm.
Like we talked about, I don't know that this is necessarily like inspiration show or motivation show, but I think
Right.
for me at least, and we'll talk a little bit about this as kind of like the first topic in a few minutes, but kind of just like making something happen and kind of getting it done is always like, I think, a challenge. And I think it's a challenge for a lot of people. Like it's easy to like lay in bed and like come up with these ideas of things you wish you could have done or should be doing or want to do, but to actually like take a step and actually do something. So, if this is the only one of these we do, which I'm sure it won't be, it's at least like started and done, and it's something that's happening and it's progress. And,
Damn.
it's a creative outlet in like a busy life. For me with 2 kids and a wife and a job and everything like that, and you with a job and a wife and a dog and traveling and living out on the West Coast. By the way, I'm in upstate New York and Adam's in San Diego, California. So we're like across the country from each other. It's probably like 70 and sunny, like it always is every day, and then annoying city.
Yep.
And it's like let's see what it is here in the greater Albany, New York area. It is
Probably I'm guessing pummeled with snow.
we had about 4 or 5 inches yesterday, and it's a crisp 17 degrees right now. So,
God.
so yeah, but you smart, you got out, but maybe we'll get you back here sometime soon. So,
Yeah.
so we're going to talk about stuff, like I said, that like 2 guys that are in their 30s are going to talk about. We're just going to like bring up different topics. Some of them are going to probably be serious. Some of them are going to be less serious. We're going to like talk about our personal stories, bring in ideas. We're going to hopefully interact with you all through the social channels. Like I said, at 2dudes30 at everything, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can also email us at 2dudes3030 at gmail.com. So we hope to kind of get that going and kind of work through things with you all as well. We're looking to do one of these a week right now, which would be kind of our ideal scenario, and have them go every Monday. But quite frankly, we don't know what the hell we're doing.
Yeah.
So
this is just like shot in the dark.
I'm hopeful that this is actually recording right now. That's step one.
Yeah.
And then we'll see what the heck happens from there.
Figure out how to put this online somehow, somewhere.
Yeah, I think I heard that podcasts go on the internet somewhere. How you make that happen, I'm still learning. Luckily, we're in an age where you can find these things out like pretty quickly and pretty easily. But yeah, so we're gonna try to get this thing up and just kind of see where it goes, and we're gonna evolve hopefully and get more comfortable and get better and just kind of work through it. So that's my kind of general idea of what we're sort of talking about. I guess I didn't really say who it's for, but I think it's really for anyone that would have an interest in these kind of things, right? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. I think from my perspective, I think it would be cool to learn a little bit from from the guys older than us. Like, I wish I did this in my 30s, or I wish I did this in my 20s. You know, I kind of have this little regret or whatever. So if like we pose questions maybe like weekly also to like our listeners, you know, give us your advice on so and so, and hopefully people that are a little bit younger than us can kind of learn and be inspired and motivated, you know, to take chances and risks and set goals in their life and see themselves off in a better place than where they are right now. So I feel like as long as we get like a solid group of listeners that are wanting to be interactive, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be enjoyable. Like every week we'll show up with topics and yeah, we'll shoot the breeze back and forth and see where the show takes us.
Cool. So we actually put a list together this time so we could actually figure out what the heck we're going to talk about. So we want to talk about our backgrounds a little bit and like continue to like make sure people can decipher who we are and what's going on. So do you want to talk about
I guess like
each other, family, what direction are we going to take it?
Open-ended background. Go.
So I think like let's see, how old am I? 33. You're 33, right?
Yeah.
So we've known each other now then like 28 years or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
we rode the bus together. I think that's how we met in school.
For sure. And then I think we like we said kind of like one of the main goals for me in this is just having an opportunity to like talk essentially. And because I think like in 28 years, you kind of go up and down and you come in and out of like communication, life stuff, like just different things that are kind of going on. And so I think, you know, if nothing else, this is a good opportunity to like, you know, kind of work through things, talk through things, have conversation and be able to kind of reconnect on that level again. And then kind of, like I said, kind of just see where it takes us. But yeah, I mean, like for me personally, like upstate New York person, my entire life, born in New England, but growing up in this area. So never really left the area, been around here forever. And kind of got the whole thing going, got the family thing, got the house, got the job, got the
living the American dream, man.
Got the wife, got the kids, boy, girl, kind of like working through that stuff, but also kind of wanting to, you know, continue to have like an outlet to do something else, something creative, something, it's just kind of another pursuit. And this seemed like this has been something that I've been like kind of gravitating to for the last couple of years, and it just kind of made sense to like kind of give it a shot. And so here we are.
Yeah. I guess from my side, I've always been more of like a mechanically driven person and like mathematical kind of like technical person. My communication skills are horrible. Like I don't interact with people on a daily basis in the, I don't know. I work on like mechanical things. So, I guess like looking over like the last few years, my wife and I have kind of made some decisions in life to pursue things that really interest us and make us happy. I was coming from like a place where I wasn't really happy with work. I had like a new boss who was like driving me crazy and making me miserable. And, you know, I sat down with a buddy and kind of like hashed out like, how am I gonna get out of this place? So, I'll set like a few things that what makes me happy. And I look back in life and, you know, like my mother from a young age, she like instilled like travel was an awesome thing. So kind of sat and you know, planned out a trip with my wife and another couple. And I was thinking like, well, what will really bring me like enjoyment out of this? So started taking some like little steps in life, some lessons to like scuba diving. So we planned out a trip. We knew where we were going. Decided to do like scuba diving lessons, and, you know, like slowly taking like little steps in life, like started bringing like a little bit more happiness, like a little bit more contentment in life, and finding myself a little bit and taking life by the horns a little bit. Up to this last year, like my wife and I decided we're gonna kind of move cross country. We're gonna try pursuing things that really bring us enjoyment. So she got like a traveling nursing gig, and we did like 6 months in Phoenix, and we're in San Diego now, just like enjoying life like to the fullest. It's been really interesting. So
And I think kind of we were going to talk background, but I think even coming up to the present and talking a little bit about where we're at right now, I think we can kind of come at the whole 30s thing from like a little bit of a different perspective. Like, you guys are doing like you guys are free. You're like independent. You're able to kind of do your thing and see different places,
yeah,
and you know, I'm on the other end of that. But it's like it's all good
yeah,
stuff. Like I wouldn't change anything, you know what I mean? And I'm sure you wouldn't either. So, but I think we can kind of come at where
right,
we're at life-wise and from different perspectives and, you know, a different angle. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
um
yeah, absolutely.
so like we said, we're going to kind of talk topical for now, and kind of see how
Yeah,
this evolves. And one of the things we were thinking about talking about first was just kind of it's very general, but just like goals and you know, the first thing that pops into my head when that comes to mind is like the fact that I never really set them,
mm,
like regularly. Like I don't know. I always kind of whenever people would say like write your goals down to do this or like keep a journal or and doing I'm just kind of the type, and I mean you probably you know this about me. I'm like okay, like
yeah,
I'm probably good on that. And like things kind of have worked out, which is great, and like you know
hmm
feel like super fortunate from that perspective to like have feel like I you know feel accomplished enough in life at this point, but up until just recently with this thing, whatever this is going to become, was probably the first time where I really started to think about like, okay, let's like make it happen. Let's get to the next thing. Like let's actually do something with this. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm not giving myself
yeah,
enough credit, but like, um, but I don't know. Like, so I think though that if you do put your mind to something and you continue to kind of make that like a pretty singular focus, as singular as you can when you had like two kids under 2.5 and other
yeah,
responsibilities, it's proven that like you can get something done. And this is
mm,
something. This isn't perfect, and it kind of goes well with like some of the other posts that we've been putting up, like um, on the socials, like on Instagram. One of the ones we put up recently
hmm
was like strive for progress, not perfection. And
mm,
it's like I kind of put something up like just make something happen, like do something.
yeah,
It doesn't have to be
yeah,
the thing. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like learn from it and then do better the next time and the next time and the next time. I think that's our idea with this. Like, you know,
yeah,
two people that have never talked on a mic or recorded anything are going to start a show where they talk on mics and record stuff and think that it's going to be like interesting. And I hope it is to people. But I think it's like just taking one step, making things happen,
yeah.
trying to
Mm.
progress. And so, yeah, I mean, that's like my that's the thing that jumps to mind initially for me. But I think you come at it from probably like a little bit of a different perspective.
Yeah, I guess like looking at things that you might like admire in like other people or like people that you kind of like look up to that have it maybe a little bit better off than you, have it more together than you in life, and you kind of like sit down, have a conversation with them, start a relationship with that person, and kind of like glean from them, from I guess my perspective. I've never been a very motivated like goal setting kind of person, but like I can appreciate seeing progress and like seeing things come to fruition that bring people joy. So I guess in life, like only over like the last maybe year have I really started to try to like take life by the horns a little bit more. And I learned a lot from like just like almost like a mentor or like an older friend, Jim Waltersdorf. Shout out to you. He just spent a lot of time like encouraging me in life and like I don't know, helping me kind of like find my way a little bit. It's weird, but I don't know. You need those relationships in life. And like Teresa's dad, my wife's dad, asking like kind of what's your guys' goals in life? Like what is it that you guys are going after? So you kind of have to like sit down and hash it out, talk it out with each other. And I don't know, like for this show, I would say like the goals are, I want to learn how to communicate a little bit more effectively, how to keep this relationship with me and Greg going. And I would say, I don't know, we've talked about maybe like doing some kind of like interviews and things like that with people that we find really interesting. So I think that part excites me, like being able to kind of like glean from the life experience of somebody that I find really cool. I know that you've felt the same way about that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, we were talking about, I know I definitely am more of a listener than you are, like, when it comes to podcasts. And so like, but I know you mentioned like you've seen Joe Rogan. So, and he's kind of like, he comes from it weird. His are like super long form, like a couple hours. And, they're just different random people like fighters but then not necessarily like scientists and artists and whatever.
Yeah.
And like I listen to WTF with Mark Maron. So like, those are like interesting ones too. But I just think, like, I think we have kind of, we have different tastes, but some similar. And I think,
Yeah.
but so I think it'll be like, it's not going to be just like this type of person or this type of field or these type of people. I think we can kind of get a cool, like cross section of different people and just have like genuine, open, like real conversations.
It's about things that interest us
Exactly.
and things that we're passionate about. Yeah.
So getting back to goals though, like I don't think that like I'm trying to think back. I don't think that I've ever like seriously, legitimately written down like a real goal that I'm like, okay, yep, this is something that I'm gonna do, and it's like in my face every day. But I know that there are people out there that have done that, and I don't know, in a way I kind of envy those people who have the discipline to like stick to something like that, because I guess I feel like my interests tend to like they come in and then they go out like very quickly. And so it's like I feel like it's almost hard to like kind of hold my attention. Like I come up with these ideas, I like these things. And I was actually a little nervous about like putting stuff out on like being associated with this at all and like starting to hype it up, it without like actually having done it. Because I was kind of like afraid that like I'd hype it up and then we'd never like follow through. And then I'd
like
I guess
most people in life do with things. Yeah.
But I guess, so which has been like probably my history when it comes to like certain things like this particularly. But but I guess sort of an interesting thing about that too is I say like afraid like of what people are going to think, like, but it's funny because I kind of carry myself in other walks of life like that. I don't care, which I think I don't know that I really do, I guess, but then I come out and say that. So it's like, it's kind of interesting just, from that perspective, like, I don't know what it is, like a feeling of, I don't know, not want to put yourself out there really, or being afraid to kind of put yourself out there, or having people that, see you in like a different type of light, I guess.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know. I think anything like worthwhile that you're going to go after, I think you got to kind of go after for real. And you got to not be afraid to like put yourself out there to a certain extent. Because I think people like we've talked about as we're sort of planning this, like people value like authenticity and being open and real and not trying to like come up with something contrived and like read off of a sheet, but just like, have a plan but then just talk from your gut, experience. I guess. And your experience and like what's kind of real, for you basically. So,
it's kind of like goals in life. You have to be consistent. If you're going to set a goal, you want to see it through to the end. So for you and I, we've talked about this. Like we want to be consistent with this. Like week in, week out, we're going to put up a video or a podcast every Monday. That's like our goal. And try to get a few of them banged out so that we can have them kind of like set up already for a few weeks in advance.
In the can, they say.
Yeah, in the can.
Yeah. Let's get a couple of these in the can. That's a thing.
I've never heard that saying.
No?
So
Google it.
No. All right. When we're done with this, I will.
Telling you.
But just trying to like think of the things that you're really passionate about, the things that you think about and daydream about, the things that you're inspired by. You're showing me right now in the can. I can't read it though; it's a little blurry. Read it to me.
In the can, on tape or film, and ready to be broadcast or released. Bam.
All right.
In the can.
Nice. Wow, you were like such a producer.
Getting some of these bitches in the can. Okay, what were you saying? Sorry.
Find things you're really passionate about. Find the things that motivate you. Find the things you're daydreaming about. I do this a lot. Like I think about for the last like year and a half, I've thought about like tiny house living. So
yeah, you've mentioned that. You haven't built one yet though.
No, I haven't yet. But I actually went and visited a guy in Arizona who did build one. He lives in one. You know, so I'm at least a step. I'm going in that direction. I don't know if I'll live in a tiny house, but it was really interesting to see how the heck him, his wife, and his 2 dogs and like 3 cats live in a tiny house like 200 square feet.
What about that is appealing to you at all?
Well, I don't know if I would want to jam pack like sardines in there, but I think the fact that you can live like a simple life, debt free, and you can like set your own schedule, have minimal like expenses. Oh, it's kind of like the freedom that's always appealed to me, is like having freedom in life, and that's kind of like the journey I'm on right now with my wife. We're able to travel the country, thank God, because she has like an awesome profession. But like the door and the opportunity has kind of like opened itself and presented itself, and we're trying to take advantage of this freedom and exploration, and traveling the country and just enjoying one another before kids come, and before we have to settle down and buy a house, and it's like the only time in life I feel like we'll have this experience. So
smart man.
Oof.
Well, no,
Sometimes
I mean, no, you got to like. That's the thing. I think it's tough to like. I think everybody. How do I say this in a right way? I think everybody, regardless of your situation, sees somebody else in a different situation. It's like, oh, that looks kind of good. Like,
yeah.
Not like, not that like I said, like not that I would like change anything, because that I'm good for sure.
Yeah.
Where we're at, but it's like, yeah, the idea of being able to just like go pick up and do whatever at a drop of a hat is certainly, I think that's human nature to be like appealing to someone. And on the other end of the spectrum, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you're probably like, you know what, it would be kind of nice maybe if you settle down and have a couple kids at this point. So I think it's kind of like, I don't know, it's always like a grass is greener kind of thing, or like
Absolutely.
always being able to see like the positive in a different situation, and not always like being appreciative of kind of where you're at. I don't know. So it's funny though, because I said like, I was thinking about this. I said like I don't really make goals or write goals, but like a good portion of my job is like working with people on like goals. So like actually like connecting with people who work where I work, talking to managers and employees, and sort of like working through goals. Have you ever heard of like a SMART goal?
No.
So it's an acronym for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. And so that's how they say that like you should write goals for like your staff. So it should be like, it should be very, we're getting into real HR talk right here. So if anybody's actually listening, they're turning it off by now, but, we'll be quick on this. So you said like it actually would work for people though, if they're really trying to set goals. I mean, you said it's something very specific that you're looking to do. So it can't be vague like this show. It has to be like, it has to be specific, and then it has to be measurable. You have to be able to measure it, to determine whether or not you're accomplishing it or not. So, I want to be a podcaster, and I want to have produced 10 episodes measurable by June of 2018, time bound. It's attainable because we could certainly do it. It's realistic because 10 by June is realistic. So like that's like a SMART goal. Not everybody buys into it, but I think it like, if you're trying to write one for yourself, it kind of makes sense to potentially consider them that way. So like as I was thinking more about it, I'm like, I guess I do kind of get involved with goals. I just don't always like think about it myself so much.
Yeah, or like write them down. It's just like something that's rolling around in your head.
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm not formal about it at all. Like, but I had life goals. Like I had things I always kind of thought about. Like when I was a kid, even growing up, like obviously like well, not obviously, but it's a typical one. Like go to college, get out, get a good job, whatever.
Yeah.
Have a family, have kids, have a house, be comfortable
Yeah.
enough, be able to go on some vacations every once in a while. Like, they were pretty basic,
Yeah.
hashtag basic. But you could laugh at that. That's pretty funny. I mean, no, but like, but yeah, so I guess, I don't know that like, maybe I do think about them and have them happen or make them a part of my life, but just they're more like almost like you said, like laying around kind of in your spare time thinking about them without like formalizing anything and taking the steps to like make it happen. So
Yeah. So I think like it would be interesting to the one listener that we have right now, probably like your mom.
my mom has a flip phone. And no offense to her, I'm not going to say her name, so she won't get too annoyed at me. But she has a flip phone still, and she doesn't have a smartphone, so she would not. She's not a podcast listener in any way, shape, or form. I'll make Ashley download it though.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Or maybe like your dad will kind of have it playing.
He
something.
has an iPhone. I'll show him how to do it. I have to show
for
him
our, like,
for sure. But
our 1 or 2 listeners, like,
does your dad have a smartphone? Hang on. Does your dad have a smartphone?
No,
I had a guess that he probably didn't.
No. He lived in Africa for 8 years.
Shout out, Bobby. But I didn't. I didn't think he had a
so
smartphone.
out of tune. He is so out of tune with this world. Like he has been like a missionary for 8 years, and he's passionate about that, and he's done an excellent job at it. So
your mom's probably got a smartphone though, right? By now.
Yeah, absolutely. My mom does.
She's on Facebook. Yeah. Checking out the grandkids, doing all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
anyways,
I guess for whatever listener or listeners we have out there,
we have to make your sister download it too.
Definitely. Yeah. Shout out to Mike too, her husband. He'll probably actually be our only listener. He was excited about this. So yeah, Mike, I want you to think about some goals. This is your job this week. Think about some goals. Write them down. Things that you're really interested about. And write us an email or reach out to us and some kind of social media platform.
2dudes30@gmail.com.
Oh, 2dudes30 Instagram. Come on, do that.
Yeah. We just got another like too.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're up. Oh, sorry, another follower. Look at that.
Holy cow. This thing is just blowing up.
Yeah, it's just like this is a like a snowball rolling down the hill, man. What else about goals?
So we want to hear from people. We want to hear from people. We want to hear what's going on in their lives. We want to like maybe they can challenge us to certain things, or we can challenge them to certain things every week. That was my idea.
Yeah.
I don't know if Greg liked it or not.
No, like I think we're gonna like evolve. We're gonna see how this kind of takes us, where this takes us, and kind of how it goes. I think this first one is honestly more or less an opportunity for you and I to like talk on the mics and start getting comfortable with it, see how it flows, and introduce ourselves to people, and then we'll get kind of rocking and rolling as we go. Like I said, if we can figure out actually how to edit it and get it on the internet somewhere in the world, we'll do that. Do we want to say anything more about podcasts in general, or like what we're looking to do here? I don't know.
I guess like eventually we want to interview people that we think are awesome. Like that was like the whole thing. I feel like we connect, and somehow we can interview and people that we are really interested in, or interesting topics, stuff like that. But
yeah, for sure. And just trying to get more comfortable with the conversation, the flow, and just kind of working through different things. But yeah, different topics, different ideas, all good things. Reach out to us throughout all the channels that we mentioned, and tell a friend. So, do we want to wrap this up, or do we want to keep going?
Yeah, I feel like we've kind of nailed down our first podcast.
Okay, good.
I don't know how long this has been, but yeah, I feel like we did all right.
We're ticking along. So anybody that's stuck with us for the almost 40 minutes of this so far, thank you. We appreciate that. Like we said, get involved on all of the socials. We're at 2dudes30 on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Definitely kind of going at Instagram more than anything right now. So if you're on there, follow us, like us. If you like this first episode, which you'd have to have some eclectic taste to probably like this, but definitely hit subscribe and give us a review if you're into it and you're feeling it.
Worst podcast ever.
No, I think this honestly, first episodes, man. Like as first episodes go, this is actually happening. This is something is happening here.
Absolutely.
And we'll just kind of keep going from there. So, but I guess what we wanted to do, well, is mention that, every Monday is the goal for now to get these out. So we'll keep them rolling every week. Intro music, intro riff, was from a band called
One of your favorite
Enigmatic Heart. Yes.
Favorite bands.
From Clifton Park, New York. So as Enigmatic Heart NY on Facebook, I think you can also find them on SoundCloud and just search them on YouTube. That's Enigmatic Heart from Clifton Park, New York. So
who did we see them play with? Was it Under Oath?
It was both. It was
Chiodos? Was it Chiodos?
We saw them with Chiodos and we saw them with Under Oath too. And so we're like 30. We're 33. Those guys are probably like 23 right now. So
they were young.
25 maybe. So when we saw them, we probably went and saw Chiodos like 10 years ago. So we were like 23, and so these guys were probably like 11, like 12. And
they were killing it.
I believe I actually may have student taught one of them when I was a student teacher long after we saw them for the first time. And as we were thinking about this show, I'm like, I got to reach out to somebody to like figure out some music here. And so I shot these guys like a quick Facebook message and was like, hey, we're doing this thing, blah, blah, blah. And, are you into us, like maybe just grabbing a song or two? And like, I got like almost an immediate response, and they were like, yeah, man, whatever you need, like take care of it. They're not really doing anything together anymore. Although they did just have I saw on their Facebook that they did just have like a reunion show this past fall, but they're all like grown up dudes. They're out of college. They're working jobs. They're just like regular guys now. But yeah, they said we could snag some tunes. And so, as you wrap it up, we're going to kick it to them, and we're going to kick it to them the end of every single episode, because that's the kind of music that Adam and I like too. And so we'll let Enigmatic Heart take us out, and thank you again for listening. We'll check you next week.
It's been a pleasure.
Later.
We all know your game.